A very good morning to everyone. In this video, I'm going to discuss today's most important article that was published in Economic Times. So the article title is No Slowdown in Startups, and it is written by Padmaja who is the president of Indian Angel Network. So before I really go into the analysis part of this article, I would like to give you the outline of how this has been formatted. So first I will discuss the context behind this article, then we will go to the vocabulary part, and finally we will discuss the analysis. So starting with the context, so what this article basically talks about is that how our entrepreneurial ecosystem in the India has improved over the years, and what was the role of government and the private sectors or private investors in this whole formation. Now coming on to the vocabulary part, I have able to find only 10 words that I think were really important in this article. So first is paradigm shift. So paradigm shift means is when something fundamentally changes or something some underlying assumption changes about something. Second is evinced, which means reveal the presence of a quality or feeling, or basically to indicate something. Revamp means give a new or improved form, or basically to restructure something. Fourth is leverage. Leverage means to use something to maximize one's advantage about something. Fifth is harness. Harness means to control or basically make use of something. Sixth is mainstay. Mainstay means a person or thing on which something else is based or depends. Seventh is nurture. Nurture means caring something or protecting something while it is growing. Eighth is axing. Axing means by reducing something. Ninth is pave the way. It is an idiom which means to create a situation that makes it possible or easier for something to happen. Okay, and finally is bourgeon, which means to begin to grow or increase rapidly, basically flourish. So these were the all 10 words, and now there were few terms, organization or concepts that I have come across while reading this article, which I think are really important for exams and as a general awareness about the financial market. So first was unicorn. So unicorn in venture capital industry basically or finance industry is a startup whose value has crossed over $1 billion. NASCOM we all know, but the full form of NASCOM is National Association of Software and Service Companies, and it is a trade association of IT and BPO industry. It was established in 1988, and the first initiative of NASCOM was 10,000 startup, which was they initiated in 2013. And the purpose of this initiative was to set up or support 10,000 startups by 2023. Another concept was top line and bottom line. Top line means sales, which is an accounting term, and bottom line means profit. And last but most important was angel tax, because recently there was a talk about angel tax as well, that our finance minister has actually reduced the angel tax. So what is the angel tax? Angel tax is a term used to refer to the income tax payable on capital raised by unlisted companies, basically the startups, where issue of shares where the share price is seen in excess of the fair market value of the shares sold. The excess realization is treated as income and taxed accordingly. So for example, a newly startup is worth 30 lakhs, but it has raised capital 40 lakhs. So the excess of 10 lakhs will be treated as income and will have to pay angel tax on it. So finally, coming on to the analysis part. So author first introduce us that how this whole paradigm shift has happened in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So she says that 2019 saw the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem make a paradigm shift. The country's startup landscape saw the emergence of 7 new unicorns and value creation of $90 billion. So we have already seen that 7 new unicorns against a startup whose market valuation has crossed more than $1 billion. So there has been 7 new unicorns that has emerged from Indian economies only, and the value creation of $90 billion. Little wonder then that India is globally ranked third in its number of startup behind only US and China. So that has been, we are on a third position after US and China in terms of number of startups. She says that the first half of 2019 saw $3.9 billion invested across 292 domestic investment deals, marks an increase of more than 44% of over the same period in 2018. Emerging startup also benefited from the windfall. A recent NASSCOM report highlighted that the growth in early ages funding in India, more than $1.6 billion was invested in newer business ventures, marked an over an year-on-year increase of 70%. So he is saying that how much investment has been raised by the new startups. He says that in the first half of 2019, 3.9 billions were invested in around 292 domestic startups, which marks increase of 44% in comparison to the previous year. And even the NASSCOM, one of the NASSCOM report has indicated that there has been an investment of $1.6 billion in the early age startups, and it is increase of 40% comparing to the previous year. She later goes to explain that the increasing maturity of the startup ecosystem is being complemented by the emergence of world-class Indian startups such as Flipkart, Oyo, and Zomato going global. These developments are indicative of the massive growth potential of the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is expected to home to 10,000 startups and 100 unicorns by 2025. So he is saying that again there has been a lot of world-class Indian startups such as Flipkart, Oyo, and Zomato, which are performing very well even at the global level. So it is an indicative of the massive growth potential that our Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem has, and we are expecting that India will home to 100 and 1,000 startups and 100 unicorns by 2020. But it is actually later according to the what NASSCOM has predicted, because they were saying that according to their 10,000, so 10,000. So again it is saying that it is indicating that there is a massive growth potential that the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem has. It will home to 100,000 startups and 100 unicorns by 2025, which is like exceeding the what NASSCOM has expected. She later says that that said, these numbers alone don't paint an in-depth picture of entrepreneurial growth. For instance, they don't show innovation and disruptions that have been driven across industries, as well as interesting shift within the startup ecosystem. Newer domains such as electric vehicles, biotech, agri-tech, HR tech, retail tech, deep tech, drones, space, and robotics all evinced investor interest in 2019. So he's saying that even the numbers are quite high, it doesn't actually give an in-depth picture of the entrepreneurial growth, that whether we are coming up with the entirely new revolutionary idea or not. And but we have seen that new domains have also emerged in the startup market, and because we have seen a lot of newer domains which were not present earlier. For example, electric vehicles, biotech, HR tech is a new, retail tech, deep tech, drones, space, and robotics. These are all prominent new spaces that have actually captured the attention of investors in 2019. Later she says that with companies increasing revamping their business infrastructure by integrating advanced technologies such as blockchain, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and natural language processing, the focus on delivering such services also achieved much growth. So obviously, because of the new technology that has come up like blockchain, AI, machine learning, that has actually obviously helped startups to grow much faster. She says that startups leverage India's rapid digitalization trajectory, but more importantly, they focused on harnessing the potential of its 2.5 trillion economy. So obviously, the digitalization environment that has been going in the Indian economy from the past few years has actually helped startups to grow much faster, and they have undoubtedly have taken a leverage on this. But what she is saying that these startups have actually harnesses the potential that our economy has of being $2.5 billion. She says that digitalization not only opened a huge market in tier 3-4 cities, but also enabled companies to build operation for scale and for customers with diverse behaviors. Such from Bharat for Bharat startups have attracted significant investors interest across the sectors. In 2019, over 18 small town startups raised 165 million in investing. So giving the example that how digitalization has helped, because digitalization has actually opened a huge market for them, because now digitalization give access to the startups to come to the even tier 3 or tier 4 cities, and this has actually widened their whole pie of market that they could target. And she gives the example of a From Bharat for Bharat startup, which has actually gotten a significant attention from the investors across the sectors. And in 2019, 18 small town startups have raised $165 million in funding. She says that in 2019 also witnessed a significant shift in the entrepreneurial mindset. The new wave of entrepreneurs is building disruptive value proposition into fast growth business ventures by focusing on revenue, top line and bottom line. The trinity of disruption, differentiation and dhanda has become the mainstay for both entrepreneurs and investors. So she is saying that 2019 has also even witnessed a significant shift in the entrepreneurial mindset as well. So though there is not yet any revolutionary idea has come up from the India, but there is a significant shift in the entrepreneurial mindset, and we are coming up by building a disruptive value propositions that is turning into fast growing business. And the trinity or the combination of three, disruption, differentiation and dhanda, are becoming a main focal point for both the investors and entrepreneurs. She later goes on to explain that government initiatives have enabled innovative startups catering to critical market needs such as cleaner and cheaper transportation and solar energy. Both center and state government are competing with each other on various parameters to facilitate growth startup. So she is saying that government initiatives have actually helped innovative startups to cater the critical market. For example, the cleaner and cheaper transport and solar energy. And she's saying that both center and the state governments are competing each other on various parameters to facilitate startup growth. She says that while talking about growth, the great contribution made by the private players cannot be overlooked. In addition to dedicated high net worth individuals and angel groups, state sponsored as well as the privately funded accelerators and incubators are nurturing entrepreneurship. India is currently home to 335 of such enablers and cultivators of the innovations. So when we are talking about the initiative that has been taken by the government, we cannot overlook the contribution, or even I should say great contribution that has been made by the private players. She's saying that the dedication that has been put by the high net worth individuals or the angel groups or the state sponsored as well as the privately funded accelerators and incubators have actually nurtured a lot to the entrepreneurship. And right now India is currently home to 335 of such enablers and cultivators of innovation. She later says that large organizations are extending mentorship opportunities, procuring services for emerging enterprises, providing grants, and even equity. Many established businesses have also started acquiring startups with unique intellectual properties. This opens up a very large pool of domestic capital for entrepreneurial ventures, unlocking invaluable and high quality capital for the ecosystem. So again, there has been a lot of organizations which are offering mentorship opportunities or services or their expertise and even equities to the startups, and they are even uh, acquiring the startup with unique intellectual properties. So there has been a lot of growth or help that is being provided by the large organization as well. She says that on the government front, the axing of angel tax was handled very proactively by the DIBP, that is the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and the Central Board of Direct Tax. This development also paved the way for government and investors to partner and create an enabling ecosystem. So as I had said earlier, that government has recently reduced the angel tax. So that was a very proactive step by the government side. So and it has also paved the way for the government and investors to partner and create an enabling ecosystem. She says that beyond the policy level, government accelerated the establishment of dedicated resources for startups such as fund of funds managed by the SEBI, the Small Industry Development Bank of India, which has committed over 4,000 crore rupees to more than 110 funds. Furthermore, India is the only country to have a separate ministry dedicated to the building of a burgeoning biotech sector. So she's saying that even there has been a lot of policies that has been made to facilitate the growth of the startup. Government has actually committed resources that will be put to accelerate and support the startup by they have actually created a funds of fund which is managed by SEBI, and this fund has committed over 4,000 crore rupees which will go to the nurturing of the startup by providing incubation to these startups. She says that in the last 7 years, the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, the BIRAC, an academia industry interface agency created by the Department of Biotechnology, has invested 978 crore rupees in this space, along with garnering an industry commitment worth 937 crore rupees. Since its launch, more than 750 BIRC supported biotech startups have gone to achieve a culmination valuation of more than 3,500 crore rupees, while 33 such companies have achieved a valuation of 365.4 crore rupees in the last 4 years. So there has been a great initiative by the BIRAC side, and they have invested like 978 crore rupees in this space, and they have, since they have launched this, more than 750 of their startups have gone to the valuation of more than 3,500 crore rupees, and even in that 33 companies have achieved the valuation of 365 crore rupees in the last 3 years alone. She says that the number of startups fund has also risen. In 2019, the number shot up to 550 from 129 in 2014. 10 oil and gas public sector utilities have partnered to launch a startup fund worth more than 300 crore rupees. The share of oil and natural gas corporation alone stands at 100 crore rupees. So he's saying that as all the development and the nurturing that has been given by the various stakeholders, there has been also increase in the number of startup funds as well. So she is saying that in 2019 the numbers has shot up to 550, while in 2014 it was just 129. And oil and GC PSUs have also partnered up to fund a startup with more than 300 crores, and in that fund the ONGC share is alone stand for 100, and in that fund ONGC shares alone stands for 100 crore rupees. She gave another example that government, she later explains that even the state government contribution is no less, and it has actually risen to this occasion. She says that under the Kerala startup mission, the Kusum, for instance, the Kerala government has selected investment funds through which it will infuse 300 crore rupees into startups by 2022. So even state government side, there has been a push which is continuously being given to the startups, and which we can see that Kerala government has launched this Kusum initiative, which will be investing 300 crore rupees into the startup by 2022. Finally, she says that Indian startups are gaining support from not just the stakeholders within the country, but also beyond. West Asia, Japan, China, and Germany are among the top investors showing interest in the domestic innovator today. Japanese investment giant SoftBank alone has invested $10 billion in Indian startup. For Chinese investors, India represents one of the most important markets. Over the years, however, Indian investors have proved that they are not just enablers of the ecosystem, but also key innovation drivers. Let 2022 continue this trend. So they're not just Indian startups are getting pushed from within country only, but at the global level, and different countries are also supporting them. For example, West Asia, Japan, China, and Germany are the top investors that are showing great interest in the domestic innovators today. And even alone, Japanese investment giant SoftBank has alone invested $10 billion in the Indian startups. And even for the Chinese investors, India is the prime location to invest. So there has been a lot of progress in this area, even when our economy has gone down to its lowest most, which was 4.5%, which is the latest estimate. But in the startup area, there has been a continuous growth that we have seen. So let's hope in 2020 as well this trend continues. So I think I am done with this article. And if you actually want to download this PDF, you can download this from the description section. And I guess that's it. Now I'm signing off.